Hello again, Design Shanghai audiences, those people that I would love to be with, but unfortunately can only be with you in two dimensions rather than three. I'm Aidan Walker. I'm the program director of the Design Shanghai Forum. A wonderful, wonderful job that always brings me great pleasure, meeting fantastic people and hearing about fantastic work. And this next session that I have for you is, as we might say, number two in the circular design, or designing for circularity, designing for the circular economy. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce Sophie Thomas. Sophie is, in the UK, probably one of the best known and most influential advocates and campaigners for the circular economy. She's been working on it for many years. She was the prime mover behind a very, very influential document produced by the RSA, the Royal Society of Arts, in 2012 called The Great Recovery. Her practice, Thomas Matthews, is graphic designer and branding designers. They're not so much in interiors and product, but more in, as I say, more in the 2D kind of way. Sophie's going to talk to us about what circular economy means, what designing for the circular economy means, and she's going to show us a good deal of her own work in a long period. You know, this has been, well, it's 8 years, obviously. I was going to say nearly a decade, that designers like herself, there are not many designers like Sophie Thomas, ladies and gentlemen, who have been talking and thinking about the circular economy. So please enjoy Sophie Thomas.
So hello, Design Shanghai. My name's Sophie Thomas. I'm founder of Thomas Matthews Communication Design Agency, and I'm a sustainable and circular economy designer and expert. And I've been running the studio for over 22 years now, along with my team, and we are very much focused on doing design in a very sustainable way and a very conscious way, and to create maximum impact without increasing the impact on the environment. We built the studio on the principles of process and practice and the understanding of the principles of sustainability. So how we find our clients, what kind of understanding they have, can we teach them about sustainability, can we understand and work with them on eco-design, and then on the other side, looking at the materials we use, how we look at our processes, can we do carbon impact analysis, life cycle analysis, etc. And those two foundations have been the cornerstones of our business for the last 2 decades, and it's still very, very effective. So we really kind of know our stuff by now, you'd think. We have worked on huge amounts of clients, from international, from Gardens by the Bay in Singapore, all the way to charities in London, and with a very, very big focus on understanding that waste is a design flaw, and we must get it out of the practice of designing. So post-COVID, we have really now begun to understand that we cannot go back to how it was. Our planet will, in the long run, really not put up with it. This is about the fact that, you know, we have infinite resource on our planet. We need to start consuming in a way that really is more sensitive to that we can't just carry on in this kind of abundance shielded way, that we really don't understand the issues. And why is this something for designers to think about? This is because everything we create has impact. Through the raw materials that we dig out of the ground and we use for our products, through the processing of those raw materials, for the manufacturing of our products, whether it be a piece of paper or the piece of electronics, the shipping, the logistics around that, the carbon intensity of getting that product from where it was made to where it's going to be sold is a massive global thing currently. The way that we consume things and our customers consume it, and ultimately the way those products are disposed of. And all of this impact starts with design. In fact, 80% of the environmental impact is predetermined at concept design stage. So as soon as you start to put pencil to paper, or you open up your computer and start thinking about the shape, the pages, the form, etc., the material that it's made of. So we really must change the way we design. And this is going from something where, as I just said, a very linear process. So we take stuff out of the ground, we make it into a product, the product is consumed, and then we chuck it away. And of course, there is no way. You know, we are one planet, so there's no kind of hidden pockets or magic disappearing spaces, black holes that we can just chuck stuff into. And we have to go and shift that to one which is very much focused on the values. So looking at the material, retaining its value. So again, taking the focus off the product into the material itself, and the product just becomes a blip in that material's life, which is effectively, you know, forever, depending on how we design it. So this means about encouraging long use, reuse. So this is through like fixing, sharing, remanufacturing, getting that material back out and back in again. So how are things fixed together? Are you laminating it? Are you designing it in a way that you're kind of creating two materials together, they're locked together, you can't get them apart again? This is also about really understanding the recovery. So how are we encouraging citizens and ourselves to like get that material back into the system? So recycling, remanufacturing, etc. And all of this system is called the circular economy. So instead of going from one linear place, you're pulling the ends together. So instead of the waste, it becomes a material back into the system and then feeds back into your design. Now, designers can't do everything, obviously, because we're not like, you know, experts on a lot of this stuff. But this kind of thinking really requires collaboration. So this is collaboration with material experts, with supply chain managers, with chemists, with technological businesses, with resource and waste managers, with innovators, even anthropologists. So really understanding the behavior change of people, how you can shift behavior, shift habit, why do things get put in the wrong bin, etc., etc. Why do we change our phones very often? What is pushing all of those consumer habits across the way? It also requires a level of collaboration with politicians, because often or not, we need to change policy, we need to change regulations to encourage people, to encourage businesses to change the way they design things. And of course, there's a massive amount of collaboration with citizens, with consumers. But waste really is a design flaw. It really does start with the way we design things. And design can and must do better, because, as I said, this is a finite planet. We are at a point where we can actually think about green recovery, build back better. And this is about a kind of harmony with our planet, a harmony with the fact that we should be designing for not just abundance of stuff, but abundance of life. You know, bringing back habitats, not thinking about using materials where it has detriment to species, to potential extinction of animals. This is about really bringing positivity to design, to actually really fix or help to let the world recover. It's a very positive thing. So as we're all in lockdown here in the UK, I'm actually speaking to you from my home studio, which is actually a little shed in my garden. And this is where I have all my letterpress. I've got some very old letterpress and two printers. And I do a lot of my own personal work here. I collaborate a lot with other artists to work on installations that focus on environmental issues. Some of my recent collaborations include working with Louis Thompson, who's a master glass artist, on an installation called Broken Ocean, which is was a huge installation at the Saatchi Gallery, which won the Collect Open in 2019. Working with waste glass and plastic that I picked up on the beaches in Hawaii, that really focused on plastic pollution in the ocean, and that was very successful. And another piece I've recently done is a collaboration with Ella Duran, who's a textile designer, called Clean Up Camo. Again, using some of my collection of plastic picked up on various beaches around the world and put onto textiles and then made into a chair by these amazing guys called Urban Upholstery, who reclaim old furniture that's been dumped on the streets. I've also been printing with waste inks and using extracted carbon pigment and making my own inks from this, extracted from waste tires. This was used in a piece about the climate emergency for a show last year called Man-Made Disaster, and you featured the quotes from various climate deniers around the world, and then also used a big quote from Greta Thunberg called "I Want You to Panic." So for me, it's about finding different ways to connect with audiences and engage them in conversations about our planet and the environmental issues. And that, for me, is the real main role of a communication designer, really finding out how I can engage with these audiences, with new audiences. And I've recently also helped set up a collective of established designers and colleagues who are from all different types of design sector, from film, architecture, textiles, graphic design, communications, and product and furniture designers as well, and also design strategists. And we all came together because we were really wanting to see action around the climate emergency. So we pulled together this new collective called Urge. And I think a lot of designers have asked me over the years, how can I find a balance between the integrity of my principles and what I believe in and the need to make money in my business? And I think Thomas Matthews and the way that we have gone about building these foundations of principle and practice of sustainability and understanding the different impacts and environmental issues and how that then really affects our work and how we think about finding solutions for a lot of our briefs and problems and challenges is a really good example of that. It is possible. And actually, we're getting to the point where it has to happen. There is no other alternative. We don't have the resources. We have finite resources on this planet. We don't have an abundance of everything that we can just keep using and throwing away. It's just not possible. We don't have enough land on our planet to fund such habits, keep us going, but also work in an ecosystem in harmony where everybody and everything and every animal works together in complete collaboration, in the kind of harmony of our planet. So it's not just about either or, it's about actually that is the future, that is the future for design. And therefore it's about really understanding how you bring that to the forefront of how you sell your practice, what kind of clients you can get to, how can you start having very interesting conversations about how we consider this within the way that we create our products, our outputs. That's the key. So I thought I'll show you some of my letterpress work. I work a lot in waste ink and in different types of ways of printing. So this is a piece that one of the warm-up pieces that I did, looking at using waste inks and bits of ocean debris stuck into the ink. I've also been doing a lot of prints whilst we've been in lockdown, because it's a really good way of taking messages back.